Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to episode 5 of A.W.C.W podcast. I am your host, the Twisted King Savage. Today we're going to be talking about Attack on Titan Season 3, My Hero Academia, my current thoughts on the WWE product, the Uncanny X-Men run before the new Jonathan Hickman Powers of X run that just came out. The Death of the Inhumans run, my early thoughts of DC's Year of a Villain, or Year of the Villain. Very cool stuff. I hope you stick around for me this whole entire time. Once again, I am the Twisted King Savage, and you are listening to A.W.C.W podcast.
Tell me, he didn't just say that.
Till the day that I become Hokage, whatever happens, there's no way I'm gonna die!
Remember, with great power comes great responsibility.
Anime, wrestling, comic books, and weed. This is the A.W.C.W podcast with your host, the Twisted King Savage.
Smoke weed every day.
Alright, now before I begin the show, I'd like to give a couple of shout outs. For one, I'd like to give a shout out to my Aunt Jody and Uncle Duck. They just celebrated 50 years of marriage. That's an amazing accomplishment. Last week, they had a huge party and we celebrated, and it was a great time. I love you, Aunt Jody, and I love you, Uncle Duck. Hope for 50 more. Other than that, apparently Marvel is also celebrating their 80th anniversary. That's amazing. You know, so many great stories, so many great characters. They're killing it in the MCU right now, despite, certain things I might not like about it, but that's not important. I want to give them a big congratulations for 80 years. Hope they keep chugging along. And finally, I'd like to give a very special shout out to my boy Leroy, aka Doom Rider, for hooking me up with some amazing Synergy gummies, sauces, CBD gummies. Like, oh my god, I am so fucking lifted right now. Thank you, my friend. Thank you so much. Now, on to Attack on Titan Season 3. Now, oh my god,
If you like to contact the show or Mr. Savage direct, you can reach him on Twitter at Twisted Savage. You can also contact us on Instagram at the Twisted King Savage and A.W.C.W podcast, or by email awcwpodcast@gmail.com.
I'm not gonna lie, I was about ready to give up on Attack on Titan towards the middle of the third season. I mean, I liked the whole little story with Levi and what was the dude, like Kenny. It was really cool. It was really fucked up at certain points, but I just felt like it was really bogging the story down. But I see why they had to go through this way, just to explain the things that they were going to need to bring to light later on in the second half of the season. I'm not going to try to give you full spoilers or anything, because I want you guys to really watch this, because it's really amazing how they handle this last part of the season. The long and short of it is that after they put the new queen in power, the Eren and the rest of the Survey Corps goes back to Eren's hometown, and I think I've already covered this in the previous episode. So I think episode 3 or 4 I talked about what was going on. But just recently, the season 3 concluded, and the climax was just fucking amazing. So if I have not said enough, go watch Attack on Titan season 3. If you started the series and stopped because it got boring, get back on it, because the way they ended this season, they just blew the doors off the world, and it's about to get real good. Next up is my personal favorite, My Hero Academia. I love what they're doing with this show. I like the tale that they're telling between the characters. It's the typical show and jump type of storyline. At times I do get frustrated with certain characters, especially like the relationship between Midoriya. It was a Bakudo. It gets fucking annoying at times. I'm not gonna lie. Just how stubborn it is, but that's usually how their stories go. I enjoy the take on the superhero genre. Like, it's one of the more unique takes I've seen. Like, I've seen more of them using the superhero genre. Like, if you look at new shows like The Boys, that's kind of like The Watchmen meets Suicide Squad, kind of, to me. But the last episode kind of set the tone of, I guess, what's going to be the relationship between Midoriya and Bakugo going forward. If you haven't been checking it out, I know it's on Toonami. Check it out on demand if you can. Also on Netflix, they have just dropped the full all episodes of Evangelion. Now I don't know if any of you guys watched this when you were younger. It's a pretty old anime, but it is a extremely screwed up anime. Like, this came around a time when I was a kid and watching anime. I was like, this. It was just like every anime story I was watching had some screwed up ending. It's like there's one thing I liked about anime. There's really happy endings in these shows. It's never everybody gets to go home and have a great life. And Eva, it was one of the first ones I watched that was really just screwed up. So if you have not checked it out, watch it. It's basically, it's got a lot of, pulls a lot of religious imagery and themes in the creation of the angels that attack the city. I really don't want to go too much in detail because the great thing about this anime is the relationships on top of this world-ending attacks that are coming on them. It's got like Shinji and his father and their relationship and how that reflects him and his position as a EVA pilot, and then how Rei and Asuka and all the rest of them comes in. So it's on Netflix. It's a great show to binge. Let me know what you think about it.
Screw you! You're fired! You're fired! Whoa! You're fired! You're fired! You're fired! All right! You're fired!
Now on to wrestling. Now I've been keeping up with the WWE probably because I wanted to see how the writing is going to change, and I know I've heard the stories and the rumors like Vince is rewriting SmackDown the last minute, and you can tell like Raw sometimes seems like it has an idea of what it's doing, and then SmackDown seems like this just jointed mess of patchwork from the night before. Like, I don't know why SmackDown is being rewritten like that so much. Like, I think we're 2 days away from SummerSlam, and we don't even know who Roman Reigns' opponent is. Is it Daniel Bryan? Is it Eric Rowan? What the hell's going on with that? The Fiend and Finn Balor might be interested, but I really think that's going to be a squash match because I know Finn is supposed to be taking 2 or 3 months off after SummerSlam for one reason or another. So I think the Fiend is going to take out Finn, and then we're probably going to see the Demon versus The Fiend, I wouldn't be surprised. I think by Royal Rumble was a little bit too early. I can see that more as a potential WrestleMania match, just to give it that bigger of a setup and that big of a pop, especially for Finn Balor. I think Bray needs to run him over, and he needs to run over one or two other people before Finn makes his comeback. As Brock as the champion, like if I was writing anything, I'm not sold on Seth beating Brock, especially after how they've booked Brock to basically just destroy Seth for the last 2 weeks. And then I'm supposed to believe a Seth Rollins who can't beat Brock at 100% is going to somehow beat Brock at 25, 35, whatever you want to call it, percent, because of the will to fight. Come on, you guys are doing a little too much on that one. Like, to me, since you've been building Brock as this beast, you're going to need a group to put the beast down. I mean, this might be a good time. You can have what was it, the OC or whatever they want to call themselves, AJ and them tied up in the U.S. title. This might be a good time to bring him up and just fucking steal the belt off of Brock. I mean, shit. I don't know. Too many better options. I mean, you don't want to put the title on Drew McIntyre, which I don't understand. Like, to me, Drew McIntyre is one of the best guys on that roster. Drew McIntyre should be the number one heel in WWE right now. He has the viciousness. He has the skills on the mic. He has everything he needs to be but the fucking title to legitimize it. And I don't see why, like, when I talk to people about it, they think I'm crazy when I talk about Drew, but it's only because Drew's now in the point where nobody believes him because there's no one he can do. He's ran over fucking everybody. I mean, that was apparent when they had him fucking crushing Dean Ambrose before he walked out the door. But what's the point if at the end of the day he's not fighting or holding that title belt when it's stuck on Brock for no apparent reason other than pull some ratings. What other news is there in WWE? Oh, finally we have new women's tag team champs. I'm hoping Alexa and Nikki can do something with that to at least make them titles interesting, because it's a real shame. Like, I'm not knocking the Iconics. None of this is the Iconics, Fox. And to be honest with you, I am a fan of the Iconics. Like, at first I didn't like them, then I saw them live, and I just realized just how much work those two women have to put into being just absolutely fucking hated. Like, it's easy to get people to like you. It's a real pleasure to get them to hate you on the levels that they hate the Iconics. Like, I love everything about those two. Even the pose. Like, when they won the titles, I was the only person who was generally happy that they won, and then I was generally sad by how terrible they booked them. I mean, shit, you could have booked them in a series of fucking squash matches for the next 2 months. At least they could have feigned like they were like they were real champions, but you barely fucking used them, WWE, and I don't get that shit. Like, at this point, why isn't the WWE entertaining its own show on the network for the fucking women? Like, you can give NXT UK their own shit. You can give everyone else their own show, but you can't, with this roster of women, you can't create a fucking area where they can wrestle and they don't have to worry about other storylines other than competing. I mean, I don't understand how you have a women's revolution, but not have a fucking woman show to anchor this woman's revolution. I'm sorry, I just don't get it. Moving on.
If you like to contact the show or Mr. Savage direct, you can reach him on Twitter at @TwistedSavage. You can also contact us on Instagram at the Twisted King Savage and A.W.C.W podcast, or by email awcwpodcast@gmail.com.
She was getting a little bit excited back there. I need to calm down. So, I know Jonathan Hickman just started this whole entire new Powers of X series for the X-Men. It's just rewrote everything, and I'm loving it from the first issue. But I kind of want to go back to this last Uncanny X-Men run, which I really think that it was almost a great end of how they wrapped this story up, and it basically centers around Cyclops reforming the X-Men. Now, it's just a brief history on Cyclops. Like, there was a time where Cyclops kind of went badass after most of the mutant population was whittled down to like under 200, so he became a little bit more proactive against like terrorist groups, and that was targeting X-Men. It all culminated with him getting the Phoenix Force, him turning into basically a terrorist, and the government searching after him. At the end, I think it's in when X-Men versus the Inhumans, where you find out that Scott had died, and Emma was basically fooling everybody to think he was alive. But anyway, Scott was brought back by his son Cable to a world where the X-Men was removed because Legion and another guy named X, not the X-Men, but X-Men, fought and knocked him into a different reality, or created a whole new world just for mutants. The story was kind of dumb to me, and I didn't check it out. However, Kenny picks up word with Scott coming back, and it's basically just him and Wolverine at first. And you all know the relationship between them. Like, I love the relationship between Wolverine and Scott. Like, it's clear these two motherfuckers don't like each other. However, they have a deep respect for one another, so they look out for each other. So, like, it doesn't matter if Scott announces that he's back, a whole bunch of motherfuckers come up to try to kill him. Wolverine's just sitting there watching them fight for a minute, and then just decides, like, okay, he hops in and starts whooping ass, to help Scott out. And it wasn't like they didn't even, apologize. Scott just looked at him and was like, it took you long enough, and they walked off. But yeah, I probably in the next episode I'll cover a little bit more of the story if you guys want, if I hear that. But like, if you get a chance, check it out. It's a really cool story. The way it ended is kind of screwed up. Like, it has to do with blindfold warning Scott not to reform the X-Men, because there's another one of these government mutant programs that's literally trying to either exterminate or weaponize mutants for their own agenda. So it's usually that type of thing. But yeah, check it out. If you have any questions, let me know. Next up, a really interesting story. I just finally was able to, in my free time, finally able to read it. Death of the Inhumans. Oh my god, it is such an amazing like story. Like Black Bolt has always been one of my favorite characters in the Marvel universe, is because like just the fact that his voice is like an atomic bomb. So the simplest words can just destroy mountains. Like one of my favorite Black Bolt moments was during the House of M run, where Magneto was trying to convince Storm to marry Pedro, but she was with Black Panther. So Magneto was like, you know what? He sent Sabretooth to Wakanda to kill Black Panther. Sabretooth failed. Sabretooth failed, and T'Challa sent Sabretooth's head back in a box to Magneto. So Magneto was like, all right, cool. Magneto turns around, and this will show you in the House of M how fucking powerful Magneto was in this world, because Magneto sent Apocalypse to Wakanda to take out T'Challa. So Apocalypse rolls in, whooping everybody's ass, rolls up into the throne room with T'Challa. T'Challa goes running off to another room. Apocalypse is like, oh yeah, even you don't want to deal with the might of Apocalypse. So Apocalypse follows him into the next room. You see T'Challa hopping into this vibranium box, right? Standing right in front of that box is Black Bolt. The look on Apocalypse's face when he seen it was Black Bolt was priceless. T'Challa closes the coffin. Fucking Black Bolt says one word and just fucking atomizes Apocalypse. Like destroys a good part of Wakanda in the process, or at least the castle. But it was one of my favorite Black Bolt moments, because it's just like this dude can just level anything with a single word. So definitely Humans follows. Apparently there was a overzealous or overzealot division of the Kree Empire that was sent out to take over. They've been away for so long that after all the shit that's been going on with the Kree, they come home and found like, hey, y'all mofos grew kind of soft. You know, so they destroyed the Supreme Intelligence, took out everybody, fucked up Ronin, and was like, and gave everybody the ultimatum, because they created the Inhumans, join or die. So that's what the story is about. Is like this dude that the Kree created that was designed to bring back anybody who was part of the Kree to either join with them or die. So I'm not gonna, like I said, like other things, I'm not gonna go too deep in the story because I really just want you to read it. I think Comic Historian might have a breakdown if you want to check it out that way. But just to kind of give you an idea of some of the cool moments in that series is at one point Black Bolt gets his throat cut and he basically loses most of his powers. Like, he goes from having an atomic bomb for a voice to it being no more deadlier than a pocket knife. But even then, Black Bolt shows how badass he is by fucking fighting back. Even after that, he gets some semblance of his voice back. But it was to me, it was a cool way to take the character. It shows it shows how awesome the Inhumans were. Humans are like fucking Lockjaw. Oh, the coolest thing about about the series is that they got fucking Beta Ray Bill involved. Now Beta Ray Bill is one of my favorite outside characters in Marvel because he's one of the other guys to be able to wield Thor's hammer. Also, I was hoping they would put him in the next Thor movie, but I don't think that's happening. But the coolest thing about this series is apparently Beta Ray Bill and Lockjaw are like best fucking friends. Like, apparently Lockjaw and Beta Ray Bill has been sneaking off for years and just fighting motherfuckers on the fly. Like, the cool thing about that series, like, they gave a hint, like, yeah, Beta Ray Bill and Lockjaw been doing this for a while. You know, maybe later on we'll write some stories to tell you about what they were up to, but don't worry about that now. But yeah, that might be coming later. I'm like, oh, okay, just go ahead and take my money, because I don't know about you guys, but I'd love to see Beta Ray Bill and Lockjaw teaming up, just whooping ass. Like, I don't know. Maybe that's just me, because I like, those are two characters that I've always loved in the MCU. So, well, not the MCU, but the Marvel Universe. And with that, I think I'm going to bring this show to a close. I've been rambling on for quite some time. All right, so you can hit me on Instagram at the Twisted King Savage, or you can hit the show's Instagram at A.W.C.W podcast. You can also hit me on Twitter at Savage. That's twisted with a Z. Or you can hit me on the show's Twitter, A.W.C.W podcast. I am the Twisted King Savage. You guys have a blessed day. Peace.
Soy la nueva norma. أنا معيار جديد. I am the new standard.
我是新标准。
Io sono il nuovo standard. Ich el nuovo standard. Ich bin der neue Standard.